it's Miss Ross here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to be reflecting back on my university experience. I'm actually now a fully qualified teacher. I just completed my NQT year last year. I have a lot of friends who are student teachers and they are currently starting their placements at the moment. It's definitely something that I get asked about a lot. I did the 4-year BA course. Across those 4 years I had a range of different placements in lots of different schools. So hopefully based on my experiences I'll be able to give you some advice that you might find handy. The first thing that I would always do as soon as I found out the school that I was going to be in for my placement is to go onto the school website. You'll be able to find a lot of information about different things going on in the school. You might be able to read a newsletter, find out about the different classes, and there will also usually be copies of different policies on there. For example, the school behaviour policy, the anti-bullying policy. So make sure you swat up on that. It helps you to get a feel for the school before you start, and for me I always find that it just calms that anxiety a little bit because you have some idea about what it is you're going to be heading into. I don't think it was compulsory, but usually once I found out my school I would give them a little phone just to introduce myself and find out anything that I needed to know about the placement. You might be able to arrange a visit to the school so that you can go in beforehand and meet your mentor. I would definitely encourage that if you're able to do that. You could always just ask for the contact details of your mentor, who is usually the teacher of the class that you're going to be working in for your placement. On a school visit I would usually bring a printed physical copy of the placement expectations. I don't know if this is the same everywhere, but certainly at my university we had a handbook which kind of set out the expectations of the placement, and I'd always make sure that my mentor had a copy of that so that they were aware of what was expected of me. And on there I would always make sure to write my name really clearly. I did have one placement where a teacher forgot my name and kept calling me the wrong name, which was really embarrassing because obviously I had to keep correcting her and the kids got a bit confused about what my name actually was. I'm sure they probably had a lot of students, so it can be quite easy to forget sometimes. Since then I've always written my first and second name really clearly, as well as that just my mobile number and my email. It's really good to have those contact details before starting. On one of my placements I was actually starting on an in-service day, and it suddenly occurred to me the day before I didn't know what we were supposed to wear. I know that some schools expect you to dress as you normally would for school, but in other places teachers are quite happy coming in jeans and hoodies. So I quickly fired a text to my mentor, and it was really helpful that I'd obviously gotten in touch with her beforehand and I was able to just double check that before I came in. Also, if you're in touch with your mentor beforehand or during a visit, you can find out any information that you need to know before starting. I usually like to prepare a list of questions and have a really good think about anything that I want to know before starting. So that could be about any specific needs of pupils in the class you're going to be working in, or really silly things like what time they would expect you to be in the morning. Again, I've had some placements where teachers usually come in quite late in the morning but work late at night, and vice versa. So definitely find out about the school, get in contact with your mentor, and just be as prepared as you can before the placement. Another way that I like to get organised before starting placement is to prepare my folder. I always like to go out and buy a nice brand new folder to keep all of my placement paperwork in. One of my favourite things to do was to design the little cover page where I would have my name and my contact details and like the title of the placement, and we also had a kind of placement overview checklist that I would put at the front as well as a contents page which I could tick off as I filled it out. It's really good to invest in some dividers for that as well in case there are different sections, just to keep everything nice and organised. You might want to ask the teacher for a copy of the class list, and if they have it, a class layout, so that you can have a look over that and start to get a feel for who's going to be in the class and any pupils that you need to be looking out for. Also, it's good to have a copy of the different groups. There might be different literacy and numeracy groups that you need to be aware of when you're differentiating different lessons. Just getting as much information about the class as you can early on so that you can be prepared. A nice little bonus thing to do before you start your placement is a getting to know you lesson. It's really good to have a little something up your sleeve to introduce yourself and to help you get to know your pupils. I've seen this done in lots of different ways. Some of my favourites include doing a little quiz about yourself. Just about every class I've ever taught in have absolutely loved my little getting to know Miss Ross quiz, where I ask them questions and they try and guess the answers about myself. For example, what pets I have. I'd put things up like, do I have a pet tarantula, a snake, a dog, or a parrot? And there'd be some really interesting discussions, and the kids would always have lots of fun trying to guess things about me. That's always a really simple go-to idea for a getting to know you lesson. I've also seen people get really creative, like doing what's in my bag, where you fill a bag with different items which relate to you and your interests, and then afterwards you ask pupils to draw the contents of their bag and fill it with things that they like. You might want to invest in a notepad for placement where you can write all of your to-do lists and keep any little personal notes. You might want to invest in some stickers. It's really nice as a student to take some ownership of the class. I know that certainly a lot of my mentors definitely welcome the idea of me, you know, implementing my own little reward system. Moving on, it's really important that you build positive relationships with the entire school community. Not just your mentor, but the other staff in the school, from the other class teachers to the janitor and the dinner ladies. Obviously, it's extremely important that you build positive relationships with your pupils. I think that is one of the most important things of all. Not only does it make your placement a more enjoyable experience, but I think it says a lot about you. It's really important to make a good impression on the school because you never know later down the line where you might be applying to jobs. My next tip is definitely for teachers who are just starting out on their teaching journey, and I would definitely say on any placements, even if it's your first placement, get involved as much as you can. It can be really easy to sit there with your notepad at the back of the class and just observe the teacher quietly in the corner, but it's really important that you get up and get involved, speak to the pupils, help them with their work. Maybe the teacher will let you help them with their marking. It's good to show a little bit of initiative. From my experience, if a teacher sees that you are confident, then I'm sure they'll be willing to give you a little bit more responsibility. If there's a certain area that you're really passionate about teaching, then maybe the teacher will let you take that forward. Schools definitely love that, and I know that I've been able to make a really positive impression on some of the schools that I've worked in through getting involved in different school initiatives. Okay, my next tip is absolutely essential. It's something that I wish I had done from the very start of my student teaching journey, and that is steal everything. I definitely say bring a pen drive with you and anything that you can get a digital copy of, whether it's lesson plans, timetables, or different resources. As long as it's okay with the school, start storing all of that now and have a really organised file system. When you go into your NQT year, you are the one that is finding resources for your class, so it's really good to start building a bank of that now. I don't know how many times I've been trying to plan a lesson that I've thought back to one of the experiences I had on placement and wished that I'd saved something or asked the teacher for a copy of something. In my NQT tips and advice video, you will see the storage system that I now use to organise all of my physical resources. Get organised now rather than later and try and observe as much good practice as you can. I definitely learn best through observation. Take photos, whether that's photos of the displays, photos to help you remember different activities you've done. Instagram is my favourite platform when it comes to teaching. There is a whole community of inspirational teachers on there, always sharing ideas. My teacher Instagram is Miss Ross Teach, and I've actually only really started it in the last year. I wish I'd started it at the very start of uni so I could look back on it. So definitely I would say that is something to start now. Okay, the next tip is a lot easier said than done. Keep up with the paperwork as best you can. If you've got daily reflections to do, then try and do them after each day so that they don't start piling up and you have a load to do at the end of the week. Nobody likes having to play catch up on a Friday. Try to work as efficiently as you can. Set time limits for yourself and try not to get distracted. The same kind of goes with planning. I saw this advice somewhere and it's something that stuck with me, and that is try to not spend any longer planning a lesson than you're going to spend teaching it, which in hindsight makes so much sense. I don't know how many times I've sat planning one hour lesson for about 3 hours looking for that perfect resource. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Use what is available to you. Make life easy for yourself. I think it can be really easy as a student to try and be perfect all the time. You want every lesson to be all singing, all dancing, but sometimes it's okay just to take it easy and do what causes less stress for yourself. Take care of yourself. You know, make sure you work hard during the week so that you can have time off at the weekend, or at least choose one day a week where you're not going to do any work, where you can do something you enjoy. That might be going to the gym, watching a movie, but make sure you're looking after yourself. It can be so easy to feel bogged down and overloaded on placement, so just try and make life that little bit easier for yourself. I know it is a lot, there is so much paperwork, and I'd like to say that it gets easier. There's just different challenges. I think it's just about learning through experience. These things come with time. Make sure you talk to people about how you're feeling, whether that's friends that you have on your course. If you feel comfortable enough, then talk to your mentor, and I'm sure they'll be able to give you advice and help you out. Or reach out to people, don't sit and struggle in silence. I don't think I could have survived my NQT year last year without the help and support of my colleagues. And remember that everyone makes mistakes. You're there to learn. There is no expectation for you to be perfect. And actually sometimes when a lesson goes wrong, that's an even bigger learning experience. And my most important tip of all is just to enjoy it. I wish I could go back to myself at university and tell myself, this is your time to try out things and experiment, to observe and learn from others. Right now you also have a lot less responsibility than you will later down the line as an NQT or a fully qualified teacher. This is your time to figure out the type of teacher that you want to be. I feel like I'm giving a motivational pep talk. Okay, I know that was just a big mishmash of loads of different tips and advice. Hopefully some of you found that at least a little bit helpful. If you have any questions about teaching or placement, then please leave them down below and I'll try my very best to answer them. If you are in the middle of or about to start a placement, then good luck. You're there to learn, so just try and soak up as much knowledge as you can. And just remember that it is all going to be worth it in the end. The fact that you're thinking about it or worrying about it shows that you care and shows that you want the best for the kids in front of you and you want to be the best teacher that you can be. And that is definitely the first step. Hopefully this will help you to get organised and make the most of your placement experience. If you found this video helpful, please make sure you give it a like and you subscribe, and I will be back soon with more teacher related content. See you soon. Bye.